And we are live right now. Hi.
Hi,
So please introduce yourself.
my name is Marek Maciejewski. I'm in charge of product development in TCL Europe.
And here at the CES 2021, there was a nice online keynote. TCL was talking about something like the OD Zero. TCL, you're kind of like the market leader with mini LED, right? And you're doing the second gen?
Yeah, so we were the first to introduce mini LED backlights in TV sets. Our first introduction or demonstration of the technology was in 2018 at IFA. And in 2019, we introduced the first mini LED backlight product in Europe and in US. In Europe, it was X10. Product was recognized by reviewers as a very good product and in fact showed direction for future performance products.
And so you're talking about the optical distance being zero? Is that real?
Then if you look on generally X10 product we introduced in 2019, the thickness of the screen is 16 millimeters. So if we measure from the front of the glass to the total thickness of the screen, but inside we have around 8 millimeters of space between LEDs and optical sheets, quantum dot enhancement film, and then LCD glass in front. But what we do this year we introduce OD Zero. OD Zero is a technology which OD means optical distance zero, where we don't have any space between LEDs which are doing the backlight and then optical sheets and quantum dot enhancement film. We put everything together and we achieve very slim screen of around 5 millimeters thickness. So we can say it's like razor blade.
And all this experience with mini LED, what's been the performance? You get very high brightness and very good contrast?
Yeah, so generally the reason why we do mini LED is to deliver a lifelike picture quality and to deliver lifelike picture quality at really good prices and accessible prices for consumers. So what we need on the one side color volume. This color volume we achieve with QLED. Then we need high dynamic range, and here we talk more about stops. And mini LED products can achieve even 19 stops of dynamic range. So to do it, we need also very high brightness and to be able to show specular brights on the screen. So in X10, we had 1,800 nits of peak brightness. In X10, we had also close to 800 dimming zones. And product was made with something close to 16,000 LEDs. So the pitch between LEDs was around 8 to 9 millimeters. And then it was just the first generation of the technology. So the question is, what next? So the next step for us is this year. We first of all democratize mini LED and introduce mini LED backlight in products from the C range. Here we maintain the same thickness of around 15 millimeters. We maintain the same optical distance, and we also maintain hundreds of dimming zones and high dynamic range and high bit brightness. And what we can do more, so we can, as we said, go with OD Zero, and then maintain close to 2000 nits peak brightness, and also not 800 dimming zones, but more than 2000 dimming zones. And deliver all what you really need from a very large screen if you come very close and you want to focus your eye on different parts of the picture.
But when you say 2000 dimming zones, but you're talking about tens of thousands of mini LEDs, why are there zones? If you have so many LEDs, can't you have tens of thousands of zones?
Generally, you group for all this kind of products, this LEDs, you need a lot of LEDs because you have to achieve very high uniformity. But then in the next step, you group these LEDs into clusters. And then we come really to the question, how many zones we need. Mathematically, we can I can show you equation by which calculation you can calculate how many zones you need to see much higher contrast perception, and above which level, based on the distance and the diagonal size of the screen, but you increase zones and you don't achieve anything more. And for 85-inch, for example, if we look and if we take assumption that someone will sit 2 meters from the screen, so 85 means more or less 60 degrees of viewing angle. So you can really, you cover all what you see, what your eye can see. And then if you move your eye, if you focus your eye on different parts of the screen, so then in this case, you need more zones. But I don't think even if we try to drive directly each LED, and in this kind of TV set, we talk about dozens of thousands of LEDs on the backlight, it would change much the perception.
How's the OD Zero? I can imagine maybe it improves also the viewing angles, but they were quite good already with the first generation, or?
Generally, if you look on viewing angles, so for this kind of TV sets, there are several factors. First of all, how the light is going through, that the light is going directly. And then it is also linked with the design of the panel, and especially a number of domains which are used in the screen. But for current extant product, this viewing angle was quite good. And then the panel we used in X10, we use right now is 8-domain panel, which is VA. So VA provides very high contrast, static contrast, and then 8-domain improves significantly viewing angle.
One of the goals here is to have very high brightness. That's one of the advantage of LCD against OLED. So OD Zero, does that improve the brightness potential?
As I said, in mini-LED, generally our direction is to go to deliver HDR performance, and to deliver also very high dynamic range measured in stops, because we can talk about millions of contrast if we take lowest black level versus the highest bright. But especially in OD Zero, we focus on close to 2000 nits. For the time being, on technology side, we deliver 1800 nits peak brightness.
And you also talk about the latest in 8K. So what's happening there?
If you look on, but just I think we can also add one point to the brightness. What is, as you touch base on OLED. Key issue with OLED is average brightness, which is low, which is right now around 100, below 200 nits. But major benefit of mini LED is that you get a peak brightness, but you also get average brightness. So if you install the TV in a living room, which is bright, you can watch and you can see all the details. So you don't have a feeling that the screen is too dark. And coming back to your question about 8K. 8K is a new segment which is coming to Europe. Last year, 8K achieved, I think, around 0.3% of the market in terms of volume. And the market last year was a booming market in Europe. By end of 2019, which was around 36 million, in the very beginning of 2020, we expected minus 10% due to pandemic outbreak, but finally the market was plus 10% and ended at around 39 million. So out of this 39 million, if you take 0.3% of total 8K, so you see how what is the size of this segment.
It's more than 1 million. Kind of. Yeah, just a quick head, but it's a lot. It's a lot of TVs. 39 million globally.
39 this year. Last year was 39 million, yes, globally.
So actually, the TV market has been the biggest ever, right? It's just been growing because a lot of people are just staying at home and they're watching on their old TVs, and if they're all thinking, I want to update my TV, and they're buying a new TV and probably a bigger one.
Well, honestly, if we look on the decision basis, how people change and why people change TVs, and if these decisions were advanced versus 221, and as if you generally look on market in Europe, average replacement cycle is around 6 years, below 6 years, because we measure it by dividing a number of households by the size of the market, and country by country, it's very close. I think the best years in the past when flat resolution revolution started were around 4 years, but there was no market which went below this 4 years replacement cycle mark. And since few years, this cycle is stabilizing. So then last year we had a sort of uptick, and then let's see if it means that less TV sets will be bought in 221 and 222. But for the time being, we don't see this kind of signs.
And how's the market in Europe versus US? Or Asia, like in Europe is growing, everywhere is growing?
We generally, if we look on all major countries, so it's the growth is between 5 to even 20% market by market. But if you look on Europe, generally average price of the TV set in Europe is around 475, 480 euro. And this average price is not changing really much over last years. There are some fluctuations, but generally there are new technologies. Average screen size is growing, reaching being close to 50-inch average size. And this we see the growth of 1, even close to 2-inch in average each year. So we replace TV sets and then we go for larger screens, better specified screens. Another example is 55-inch and above. As in 221, we expected this to be very close to 40%.
Are you also what's called able, because you're talking about the average price is kind of very cool price of below 500 euro kind of thing. Are people able to get stuff like quantum dot, HDMI 2.1, VRR, all these things? Are those coming to these kind of price points, or is only in the more premium pricing for now?
If we look on 221 products we will introduce in Europe, so HDMI 2.1 is standard functionality for all our products. It will start from eARC and automatic low latency in products from which we call streaming products or popular UHD products. And then we have the next step of products, which we call C-line products. And here we more focus on best value. And starting from some of these products, we will also add VRR, UHD, 120 HDMI input. And these technologies will be more accessible. We just generally, from our point of view, from TCL product strategy point of view, we democratize technologies. There are several this kind of examples. We can say about QLED, which we started to democratize in 220, and then providing access to better color reproduction, higher color volume in mid-range products. Then also what we did the same with Dolby Vision. This year, Dolby Vision will be standard functionality in all UHD products we will introduce to the market. Then also Dolby Vision IQ will come on the sound side. We have cooperation with Onkyo. We do also Dolby Atmos. So a lot of things which are important for users.
Can we also expect a pretty good brightness on these democratized pricing? Like,
Generally, the brightness right now we talk about 300 something 400 nits as products which are I would say standard products, and this is a streaming offer, and this is absolutely sufficient for UHD products to access streaming. And then if you want to go for really in-depth experience in terms of HDR, and then also very wide color gamut coverage, color volume. So then you will get much more brightness, and so also we will go up in brightness and down in ability to display more details in dark areas.
So to get 1,000+ nits, you need to go to 1,000+ euros, or?
I think, yes, generally, if you look on Europe, on European market, so another interesting way to recognize products is square meter, average size per square meter. So then you have generally two steps. You have products below 1,000 euro per square meter, and then a square meter is 60-inch diagonal size. So 65 is 1.2 square meter, 55 is 0.8 square meter of the screen. And then you can translate it to prices, and then the flagship, when you enter flagship areas, you talk about 2,000 euro per square meter. And then you can really link this two steps to different specifications, and then this is also not changing much over years. So if you want to have brightness, contrast, and all the experience, you go between 1,000 and 2,000 euro per square meter. If you want to have really everything the best, you go above. And then if you look for best value offers, so then you are more or less below this brackets.
One thing that I've been wondering, and in general, trying to figure out what's the performance of a TCL brand compared to, let's say, Sony or Samsung or LG. It's been the CPU, the processing and the upscaling and all this stuff that happens in there. So how's the latest developments? But I don't want you to pre-announce what like the range is coming a little bit later this year, right? But I'm just wondering if is it possible that the CPU can also be pretty good even on the very entry level ones?
Generally, as we say that 221 range in details we will announce in March, and then also the second wave we will do in June. But coming back to your CPU question, so we call it AI PQ, artificial intelligence picture quality. And there are a lot of processes which are part of it to deliver picture quality you really need, and then to adapt the content which is coming to TV set to the screen. Because today, generally, we have, if we look on the TV set, we have two cases. The first case is broadcast, which is SDR in standard colors and in much lower resolution. It is usually 1080i. In some cases, can be 1080p. But in terms of color volume, we on TV side we can display more. In terms of contrast, brightness, we can also display more, and also we have to upscale. And then we come to the point how to upscale and how to maintain the perception of sharpness, but not just artificial sharpness, but the perception with different upscaling algorithms. It was super resolution in the past. Right now we talk about AI super resolution with neural networks. So more and more functionalities, but these are mainly hardware functionalities which are part of the new chipsets which are coming to products. The thing which is also important is the noising, the blocking, the mosquito, which are things linked to highly compressed content, which comes from either broadcast or OTT. And if I talk about OTT, OTT is another case, because if you look on Netflix, so usually TV gets absolutely very wide color volume, very high contrast of HDR content, and we need also to properly display it on the screen to maintain as much details on the screen as possible.
So actually last year, I think it was actually a CES 2019, there was this demonstration of the AI codec, which TCL was developing with crazy low bandwidth. Let's go back here. So there you see he's talking about 1 megabit or something. It looks like 10, 20, 100 times lower bit rates. Is this something that's being continued to develop and is going to be included on the chip and all this stuff and to help lower the bit bandwidth?
TCL is a company with with a lot of focus on R&D and also on developing of new technologies. We demonstrate a lot of technologies for panels and also for codecs. As you know, there are ongoing works regarding future 8K codecs and also codecs which will better be able to compress and without visible side effects on the screen. So we participate in all these works, and this is this kind of demonstration. However, what is included in chipsets and in TV sets is purely linked to standards and types of compression which are used by broadcasters or by OTT providers. So today our products this year support H.264, H.265, AV1, VP9, so all codecs which are required, and in the future, once, for example, H.266 will materialize, we will also add this functionality to our products.
And this kind of stuff that we're doing right now, video chatting is a big thing during this strange time. I think it'd be great if there was some, like the TV companies were considering to maybe integrate or at least provide a cheap option to add a very nice, I would hope 4K webcam, and then using these AI codecs and all this stuff, not use too much bandwidth, but have very high video chat. That'd be so awesome to use all these great TVs for that.
Honestly, if you look on TVs, on our Android TVs last year and this year, what we added camera compatibility. And any camera you have, which is UVC camera on the market, you can connect via USB to Android TV, which is version 9 or higher. And here the functionality is supported by Google Duo. But if we look really on the performance, so everything depends on, first of all, bandwidth, or let's say your upload bandwidth, then public internet connection. And of course, what is supported by the TV set. So even if we come with our own codec, able to compress well, then we need to establish this connection to mobile phones, to other TV sets. So again, we should mainly look on things which are standardized and then which are widely supported by the industry, as only this kind of solutions has a future and are successful.
So are you one of the leading what's called Android TV makers in the world?
Yes, we are part of Android TV club, and then together with other brands we support Android TV. Android TV is our major operating system for products we sell in Europe. And for products we sell also in other markets like Australia. We started to introduce Android TV also in USA.
That's because in US there's been a little bit of a Roku adoption, TCL, but maybe there's now the option of choosing Android TV and becomes more of a standard and more support in this ecosystem.
Roku is a standard offering in US, and then with Roku we provide a lot of products, and Roku has also a very high market share in US, and then is perceived as a very good streaming platform with a lot of services. So this is why we work with Roku. Then Android was a bit slower in terms of developing of content, but usually the same happened in Europe when content providers or operators, box operators, decide to switch from their own proprietary solutions to Android TV boxes. So then more and more content is available. Generally, if you look on Europe, so you can see that there are markets like, for example, France, where 70% of living room TVs are connected to set-top boxes, and then the set-top boxes come with the content. Countries like, for example, Poland, where the case is similar, but set-top boxes don't come with the content, so smart TV market share here is much higher. Each market in Europe is different, and purely depends how TV is distributed. So then, just as a basis for Android TV and why it is developing so fast, you see that it is widely right now supported country by country by content providers. Content is available, and when you buy Android TV, you are sure that you get all the applications you need today, and you will get them in the future, because it is not TV vendor deciding, but ecosystem by itself. And content providers decide to support, for example, version 6, 7, or 8, or for products which were placed on the market many years ago.
I mean, Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these are just completely amazing, and they're spending hundreds of billions on content combined, all these. And so this is amazing, but it'd be great to see even more, like maybe the Cinematheque and the film libraries of each country would digitize all the old movies or something and just provide them on all kinds of apps. There's so much potential to have even more and more and more content. And so I think it's good to have if Google TV becomes more like the standard and everybody just develops more solutions right there in there.
Today, honestly, Android TV is a standard, and I don't think there is any broadcaster, because if you talk about all this kind of legacy video libraries, so in most of the cases, these libraries are in hands of public TV broadcasters, and all of them, right today, they support Android TV and have their dedicated applications. Many of them, they also support HbbTV, which is a hybrid broadcast television, and then they provide applications. So if you watch TV, you have access to additional services, and this is also supported by our product. So there are many ways. And then coming back to Google, we will introduce Google TV this year for 221 products. By more or less mid of the year, we will start to provide this functionality. But Google TV is built on top of Android TV version 11. So, and in Google TV, the difference you have versus Android TV home screen is that you get more recommendations coming from content providers.
And hopefully the whole customized recommendation system gets better and better. And I hope Google is sharing revenue back to the TV maker. Isn't that like a little bit one of the reasons why Samsung, LG, and all that, they didn't want to adopt it, because they are afraid that Google is keeping some of the Play Store revenues and stuff like that? I don't know if I don't want to ask anything that's not supposed to be talked about, but I'm just, I think it makes sense that Google shouldn't focus so much on, I mean, they just do advertising, right? They don't need to take commission on everything.
Generally, if you look on ecosystems, because the smart TV is ecosystem, and then Android TV is just living room is ecosystem. So it has to work financially for everyone. So if you look, for example, on OTT streaming VOD, so here you pay and you get the content without advertising. But if you want to watch for free, so then you have to agree that advertising is displayed, and you watch some advertising, because someone somehow content provider have to pay or finance the way to deliver content to you via streaming, and also pay back the content. So then, yes, at the end, it has to work financially for everyone.
Yeah, but what I'm hoping a little bit is that Google is being smart about it and just, like provide a good revenue share for the TV maker. So then it kind of subsidizes even the price eventually, like it could eventually even help subsidize even more.
Honestly, I don't think you can subsidize if you look on the size of the market. And we talk about in total on the worldwide level, over 200, 220 something, 230 million of TV sets. And then in Europe, we talk about last year, 39 million of TV sets. And then with more than 70% to be smart TVs, I think even 80%. So then it's, well, you can say that that you can subsidize, but anyway, these are huge amounts of money, and then not everyone use TV set for streaming. Even streaming is growing rapidly.
One thing that I'm wondering, are you able to talk a little bit about the chipset? I guess it's MediaTek or one of the subsidiaries of MediaTek that makes the chip that might be in the TCL, or do you say that, or you don't talk about this?
Since there is AIDA 64 application in Google Play, so then what you can find in this application, I can also tell you. So yes, for Android TVs, we use MediaTek chipsets. We used MediaTek chipsets. Then we right now most of our products are based on Realtek chipsets. We use Android TV Realtek chipset for HD, Full HD products, and also for UHD products, and also for 8K products. And we will also reintroduce MediaTek chipsets in some of the premium products this year.
So I guess maybe they have been doing a whole bunch of developments over the last year or a couple of years to just improve. This chipset is just getting better and better, more performance. And when you click, things are just instant. The UI is smooth and fast and everything.
Well, all the chipsets we used generally are customized for us. So these are not out-of-the-shelf solutions. We work quite hard with chipset providers. We have our own middleware, so the software which does TV part, which does HbbTV part, and then we also customize and optimize Android TV performance. And then if you touch base on this smoothness of the operation, so here are also some important factors. So one point is the version and the optimizations which are done by for Android TV by Google, and also amount of the memory we have on board, and then it purely depends on the positioning of the product and which price point we address. So you might expect better performance in higher end products, and then standard performance comparable to all other market players in this streaming area.
One thing that I think you probably did in a previous generation, but it might do even more, but I don't want to ask what's going to happen, everything, but is all this voice commands and smart home kind of stuff. The TV is a great candidate to be the center of the smart home, right? So I guess the chipset might also support all these things, and the hardware has maybe microphone array. And where do you
generally there is a mix of hardware and software. We started to introduce hands-free by late 2019. This hands-free means that we have built-in microphones, and then you can use your TV set and say, "Hey Google," and the same way as you, for example, use your Google Home speaker or your Home Max screen. Then, of course, for TV set, we continue this functionality. We had more products last year, and in 2021, all products will come with built-in hands-free functionality. So you can use Google Assistant, and then you can also benefit from smart home and Google Home ecosystem. You can control many settings with Google Home application. We have also our own application, which we call TCL Home, and we have our own smart TV strategy, which we call AI times IoT. Here we talk about all the devices and services from Google, like from Amazon, which TV set can work with and integrate with. So yes, we see TV set as the future center of the home, smart home, and then also to have dashboard showing you a status of different devices.
So, of course, one can't try to tell Google what to do. But one thing that I always wish that maybe TCL could be in a position to encourage Google to give the user the possibility to customize the wake word, because I don't really like saying "Hey Google" all day in my home. I think it's a little bit. It'd be nice if I could call my TV or call my smart home, give it a name, whatever name I want. Maybe even customize the voice.
Right now we are in the very beginning of this kind of digital assistant experience, and we need a specific word to call it, the same you do with Alexa. But then step by step, once all assistants will become more and more intelligent, or let's say you will have a feeling that you really talk to human being and you got all the answers. So then, yes, it should be the next step. For the time being, we focus on Google Assistant to be available in most of European countries, as I think you know that Google Assistant is fully supported by mobile phones, but is not yet supporting all European languages due to media controls and also content integration, because usually when you use Google Assistant in TV set, you look for the content and you call the content using your local language. But this is also part of the Google Assistant rollout in Europe this year to have most of the countries in it.
So yeah, it's just a little thing that I keep hoping for, but I think maybe they can just update all the smart speakers, including the smart TVs, with this functionality. Hopefully later this year. I'd like to call it what I want and also speak in the voice that can be customized. Like it could be like a family or friend, and even think in the way that they would. Then suddenly, psychologically and emotionally, that changes everything. I think in a more positive way. I think people would adopt it more. I don't know how much people use it, but I think people would adopt it much more if it was more personalized, more personal a little bit.
But personally, I have this Hub Max at home, and then I hear this female voice every day, and I don't have a feeling that I don't like this voice. Yes, so it's someone really did on Google site a lot of research because the voice is not creating any negative feelings as sometimes you have with human beings when you hear someone you don't like it.
Nice. So how affordable is 8K going to be? Because that's one of the big topics, I think. It'd be so awesome if TCL was the company to bring crazy, like affordable 8K and a huge TV, but not too expensive, like not 8,000 euro. But like 2,000.
8K generally today is flagship TV set, and for us 8K will be available. And last year we introduced in X line of products, and we continue 8K to be part of X line of products. It depends also how 8K will develop, and we expect 8K to be more focused on very large screen sizes. TV sets like 85-inch to be mainly 8K. 75-inch, I don't think will rapidly switch to 8K because still there are consumers looking for accessible products and being a very large screen. But when we will continue to switch to larger screens, and then by sitting closer or just by maintaining the viewing distance, so then it should also happen for 75-inch. So 8K will grow. But if you ask for the prices, I think we should expect some improvements versus last year, but it won't be just, like half of the last year price.
So it's not going to be a 75-inch 8K for 1,500 or something like that. Not yet.
No,
Or
I don't think so, because anyway, in most of the cases, there are other functionalities. Consumers will prefer, like color volume, like contrast, and like brightness, like motion, more than only switching to 8K resolution. 8K has its place on the market, and for sure its place is flagship TV.
one application that I think could take off fast with 8K is that everybody's using smartphones or other cameras to take pictures larger than 8 megapixel. So it's just a 32 megapixel display. So when you have slideshows, when you're not watching TV in the living room, you could be watching all your family pictures in 8K quality in like a slideshow. And I think that could be a great application right there.
Yeah, but the key point is your resolution, eye perception of the resolution, or what we call retinal resolution. So then really, if you have 8K 75-inch screen, so when you try to play back pictures, as you say, or you play back native 8K content, for example, YouTube 8K, which is available in our products, so you really have a feeling that you can put your hand inside the screen, but if you are close to the screen, so for example, less than 1 meter, so then as for this 32 million pixel, honestly, I don't recall mobile phone camera being popular and taking this kind of resolution pictures, because anyway, mobile phone camera is very tiny sensor, and then it's also very it is for sure should be close to the glass resolution. So mostly it relies again on different upscaling or cleaning algorithms. But yes, anyway, if you look what was the average size 10 years ago, and then the key TV set was 32-inch, and for a long time there was 32 and 40-inch together. Right now, these people switch from 32 to 50 or even 55. So in a few years from now, these people will rearrange flats and switch to larger screens like 75-inch, and then 8K will be an option for them also to have access to this kind of pictures.
I would think this is the year, right? The Olympics was delayed, the Euro 2020 was delayed, and this talk of these events being in 8K, at least part of the event, or hopefully the whole event. And I'm thinking maybe this is the year when Netflix and Amazon Prime come with 8K content also, because they invest so many billions of dollars in content. They're the only ones still alive. Not really, but I mean, like, especially with this strange time, but they're investing in so much content. Hopefully there will be...
honestly, if you look on 8K content, you need the way to deliver this content. And then if you look on the bit rates, which are right now available and at which it works. So Netflix does UHD and 16 megabits, and using edge services means that all the content is in fact located in local or in internet providers, and then they provide a device on which this content is saved. So to go to 8K, there are a lot of discussions tests done across Europe, but for the time being, it is extremely difficult with current codecs to go below 30 megabits. And then to go to the level which is right now considered as this kind of max level of around 20 megabits with edge services, you need the next generation of codecs and also available, and also TV sets. Because if you look back on 215, 216, when the UHD resolution revolution was started by content providers, so UHD TV sets were growing very fast, and it was clear that UHD TV sets will be 70, like this year, 70-something% of market share, market volume in Europe will be UHD TV sets. So here there are many reasons, but for 8K, for very small amount of TV sets, you also look on the production side. So cameras. How many native cameras are available? And then to run the production for this kind of small amount of TV sets, it is still a challenge. So then we more talk about, let's see when H.266 will come, and then next iteration of AV1, and how the industry will then look on 8K.
I always think it's a little bit crazy and maybe it's sad a little bit that Netflix and Amazon Prime, they deliver 4K in only 16 megabit per second. Hopefully that's enough bitrate for that. But then if you say 16 is what they do for 4K, so I guess 8K would be something like 64 megabit per second. On the other hand, many people have this already in Europe. For example, there's a lot of people with hundreds of megabits, right, at home.
But you talk about last mile. So in fact, you talk about the connection you have from your home to the hub of your of internet provider. But you will never achieve 100 megabits from your home even to another place in your country, because then you will either use interconnections between internet providers, or you will use public internet, and this is the key issue. And the way, as I said, as they deliver content, they use edge services. So each internet provider has a box which synchronize the content and just stream locally, because if you don't go this way, absolutely you will just create the total traffic. You would stop completely the interconnections.
But this edge infrastructure has been developed like crazy recently, right? So because of especially people watching so much Netflix and Amazon this year.
Yeah, but this is the way, if you just, honestly, you can go on for example, Netflix tech blog, and then they are very open how they do it, and then how they run the service as microservices. So everyone who is successful and who wants to avoid any issues, technical issues, and the blackouts, let's call it this way, in the business, so then it has to go this way. So then everything is independent, secure, and then all these companies are generally tech companies. They are not just players to play back and take content from others. You see, it was just the idea 5 years ago that you might run this kind of VOD business, but at the end you have to produce and deliver it on the highest quality level, because what you get right now, you get absolutely the highest quality level from this kind of content providers, and which is even higher than TV was in the past. The only question today, if you look on this kind of bitrate discussions, is the sports content, and for example, football, because if you want to stream football, you know that there is a lot of motion, so you need high bitrate, and on top of this, you have to solve the buffering problem. As I think it was 2018, many broadcasters did trials with streaming in UHD of the football, and it was wow. And then and from people watching from the broadcast, and then the goal was coming 30 seconds later to the ones watching it from the streaming. So then, it's just, you hear something happened, but you completely don't know, and then later on realize. So you see, there are still a lot of things to solve.
All right. So thanks a lot for your time. But I just think this edge, maybe it'd be nice if Netflix, Amazon had an 8K and a 4K prime kind of tier, and people could pay a little bit extra and then get more than 16 megabit for 4K, like get double or something like that to get more high quality 4K, and then also have the option for 8K, because they can just provide more bandwidth on those edge things.
Honestly, we can always dream, but I think they are very good in Excel spreadsheet operation, and they know still the outcome of this equation. So that's why you don't have it.
Oh yeah, so it's a lot too much bandwidth. And all right, do you have time to just talk about this flexible display? Is that also part of what you were talking about? Like
yeah, we can have last few minutes, and then as last question. So flexible display, we demonstrated at CES. We had also the same demonstration in October at DTC conference in Shenzhen. For us, it's just the proof that we continue printed OLED technology development. And what we did so far for printed OLED, we started to build a fab. It is 8.5 generation fab, which will be located in Guangzhou province. This fab was commenced in October last year, and we expect this fab to start production by 2023 and beginning of 2024. If you ask why printed OLED, because again, we come to this price structure of the TV market worldwide and also in Europe. And then as prices are not changing, so we know what kind of TV sets and how TV sets will evolve and what are the expectations. And in this lifelike picture, lifelike colors, and also ability to display brights and details in darks. So it seems the next step for premium products, for performance products after mini LED backlight products is this printed OLED technology. And at 8.5 generation means that we will be able to cut many sizes, even up to produce many sizes, even up to 110 inch.
And hopefully the life is going to be good, but maybe if the price is super low, the life doesn't matter as much. It's going to be fascinating if you can get super high quality. And I heard that it's supposed to be $100 per meter or something like that, like super affordable way of making OLED with just printing it.
Yeah, honestly, each technology, if you look today and try to calculate in Excel, is beautiful. But then at the end, when you start production, you discover new challenges you have to overcome. The same was with LCD production, as it was called yield, and then it was stabilized. So then each technology is having its beginning, then become mature, and then new technologies are coming. So then, but again, I don't expect average price to change rapidly. It is stable worldwide in many regions. So that's why we come with new product offerings, which will be available soon as future performance TVs.
But here, the CES, the talk was a 17.3 inch, I think, like as a portable thing. And this is going to be real, you think, 2023 around?
Well, as I said, it's a proof that we are on track with technology development. We showcase different achievements. If you look on CES OD technology development, each year we have a lot of announcements. So as to say that we have a strong team, R&D team and team of researchers able to secure future technologies and master them. And if you look, for example, on this kind of OLED technologies, we talk and we show prototypes since some time. We also used to show other OLED technology prototypes just to master technology and then to prepare it for the future. But if you will see flexible TVs or just fixed screen TVs, time will show. So then the same is for mobile phones. In Wuhan, we have production facilities for mobile phones. We support both LTPS, LCD, and also OLED, flexible OLED, bendable OLED. All the screens are already available on the market, and you see them in mobile phones coming not only from TCL, but also from other mobile phone vendors.
All right. Thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for this amazing and awesome technology. It's like a window to the world of possibilities. Like people can watch so much amazing content on YouTube and all these things, and it's just great that it's bigger and affordable. I appreciate that it's not something that's only for luxury. That you have the whole range, so people can afford to have a nice big TV for like 400, 500 euro.
We democratize. So our intention is to democratize technologies and to bring these technologies to consumers. This we do in Europe, this we do in USA, we do it in Australia, and we do it worldwide.
All right. Thanks a lot. So looking forward, 2021 is probably going to, I'm sure it's going to grow even faster than whatever happened in 2020, no matter what happened with the health issue.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for opportunity, and I think we will meet again somewhere in March or April, when we will be able to talk about the 21 product range from TCL for Europe.
All right. Awesome. Thanks a lot.